Okay. Greg, thank you so much. It didn't work out on Facebook, but this maybe this will even be better. So thank you so much for joining me. I wanted everybody to meet you because we're always, all of us that know you are always talking about Greg Halliday. And we like to think of you as our friend, and I saw today when I posted that the president of Solle Naturals is going to be on, and somebody was like, the president of Solle Naturals? So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Well, that's why we founded Solle as the style of company that we did. We actually, many years ago, all of us decided we want to work with friends, because whatever we do for work, and I felt this way since I want to say like maybe 21, 22-ish, that whatever I spent my time doing, I wanted it to be something that I believed in and that I could work with people that I had confidence with. Because I'd see people that were in bad situations at work, and all they did was complain, and their life wasn't good. And so part of, I like what you said. That just makes me feel good, because if we're viewed as friends, that's how we view you, and that's how we want to do business.
Well, so whenever Michelle introduced me to Solle, which now is coming up on 8 years. How long has Solle been in business?
Only one more than,
right?
Than you've, yeah.
I know, it's awesome. And she told me at the time, she's like, this is ground level. Like, this would be smart. And I'm like, right. Okay, which it was smart. And I remember I came to Dallas, which was, I think, the first time y'all were in Dallas. And I was not expecting what I was just expecting, you see on the like rah, very sensationalized. And everybody was a friend. And we got to know all of y'all. And y'all each came to my house. And, I remember one weekend you came, I don't know how many meetings you went to, but it was at least 3 or 4. And we had you shuffling all over the city.
That was fun.
And that was a lot. That was awesome to me, because it was the beginning when nobody even knew who Solle was. And now they saw Greg Halliday, who was the face of Solle. So anyway, so a little bit about yourself and your background, because I want people to know, who you are and why you're so passionate about this.
Well, honestly, as I think back to what led to Solle, I have to thank a sister of mine, one of my sisters, who, when I was still finishing school, and I did finish college and then go on and get a master's in business, because I wanted, I guess, I wanted to feel like whatever I ended up doing, I could contribute. And I didn't, how do I say it? I guess I felt like that I wanted to be prepared. And even though, honestly, there's a part of it that it does prepare you for, most of it you have to learn. But that was why I did it. That was my reason. And while I was doing that, I had a sister who worked for a company that was direct selling, direct to market, multi-level. There's a lot of words. And I think the words companies use sort of depend on how they see themselves and their emphasis. And this company that she was with, I did an internship there while I was in school. And they were what I saw behind it, because their home office was right where we went to school. I got to meet the founders of that company, and they were real people, and they did it right. And it opened my eyes. For the first time in my life, I thought, this style of business, when it's done right, not only is it legitimate, it, to me, is the very best way to do business, because you work directly with people. Instead of kind of having to plug into the establishment and take what the establishment dictates. And not that there's good establishment, and then there's some that's maybe not as good, like in anything. But that was my first eye opener. Then I had another friend when I finished my degree who told me about herbs and natural healing. That was really what led me, I think, pointed towards Solle, because he knew I had asthma and some issues that really, for a good part of the year, I wouldn't say shut me down, but shut me out of some things that were important to me in life. And so that happened right at the time that I met my wife. And so she and I, my entry into natural healing and looking for alternatives and ways that we could work with our body, instead of trying to carefully choose medicines that force the body and then have to be careful about side effects and all that stuff, it just showed me a whole new world of how we could work with health. And I could always remember when I started, because it's the same as the number of years I've been married, because it was literally like 3 weeks after we got married. Yeah, it was that close to it.
You need to remember that.
I know. And so like you were saying on the live, then as we're moving forward, we were both using the products extensively, probably myself even more than Donna for the first 10 years. But then about 10 years into it, Donna and all her family, and there's another whole story on that, Tammy. Like they were all on multiple prescriptions for female issues, like from age 10 or 11, her sisters and her, like really
Wow.
young. And I'm just going to give you the long and the short with these wonderful herbs. This is before Soul. They all got off all of it.
Wow.
So so she had her own kind of experience, but you can actually look at nutrition and herbs and do wonderful things to balance your health back out. So we had that experience. And then as we're having our kids, and like you mentioned, we do have 6 kids. We have had 4 daughters. And then when Donna was pregnant with our one son, Ethan, he was the 5th.
Which was not your last son. I said that wrong in the live. That was
Yeah, not our last child, but he was our only son. And at the
Okay.
time, he was the last child.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know where you got that, but and she had never had a hard pregnancy. I mean, pregnancy is not easy, but defining it as a hard pregnancy, she would say all of a sudden, wow, what happened this time? And it was a little strange because then the depression came, which had never been part of it. And she tells it in the video that you shared.
Mhm.
So that led us down another whole path because we were using really high quality products. She was very accustomed to them. I mean, we had like 2 cabinets full of herbs. It wasn't like we were like once in a while we'd use them. We knew how to use them. We knew how to help ourselves with them. And for some reason, it wasn't enough. And I guess if I shorten it up, it was that challenge that with Donna that we went through together that made us look for more. And what's weird is I can't even take the credit. Neither of us would say that because I think I shared this in the video. By that time, I'd been 20 years, almost 20 years with this company. And because I loved it and I was around great people, I'd kind of progressed with it. And so I was president of half of the company and I would meet all the new leaders. We would always have dinner with them. And a long story short, I met someone who she just was one of those people that kind of stands out in already a wonderful crowd. She just beamed like energy, happiness, smiles. She's a lot like you, Tammy. She just gets on in front of people and you just see her and you go, this person, wow. She just reaches out to others. And I asked her, okay, well, what got you into these crazy herbs? I always used to joke with them that way. And she'd say,
That's what my family says.
yeah. And then she just said, well, I had this severe depression. And then, like we shared in the video, the whole story.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
she didn't know. She did not know. That was the moment when Donna had, through Ethan and then our last child, Grace, she had wanted to have another boy because she wanted him to have a friend. And we do boys really well. Grace's name is Grace because she's a girl, but they were very close. They have been close. They're in the teen years where you're a little bit less close because they're ages.
Yeah.
That will return. But anyway, so Donna had finally got to the point where not able to do it with the herbs, really kind of confusing because they didn't. Thing.
I
Well,
just
when
lost you a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll say that again. Am I back?
You are. I think the problem may be me. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm back. So basically she had gotten to the point where she met with her doctor, and I won't say too much because it's in the video. Well, when I met with this lady, Patricia was her name, she didn't know that Donna had been going through this for our last 2 children, had been diagnosed about as severe as it gets. Like they actually wanted her to check into the hospital because they were nervous.
I didn't know that until I watched that video.
Yeah.
That was emotional to me. Oh.
And it tells you how strong she is. I'm amazed because I think I would have just done it, me. But she's like, no, I'm going to go talk to the doctor. I am going to address it. But this is how I'm going to address it. I want to talk to the doctor. We're going to try a medication, but I'm not going to go check in. And she did that. And there was thankfully, an immediate difference for her. But as with all drugs, there may be some people where it doesn't work that way for them. But most everyone I know, the body over time, it tries to adjust to this chemical, and they become less and less effective and everything. And so Donna had gone over a course of a year or two. We're both a little fuzzy on the time now because so many years have passed, where they couldn't raise the dose anymore. And that's when I had this dinner, right at the moment, which Patricia never would have known, and I wouldn't have known. And this is me, and I don't believe in coincidences in life, where it was such a blessing because she told me all about what she did. She was using some different herbal formulas that were a little more in the Chinese balance philosophy, which we didn't know at the time. They make a lot of use of adaptogenic herbs and many other herbs, of course, but these particular formulas. And so, long story short, she added it to her program, started to see a significant improvement, kept on the Zoloft because it was still doing something, and slowly talking with her doctor, she backed down off it because she needed to know that she could have a future path, and she didn't want to now just jump to another drug.
Right.
And that was her thinking. And so that's what happened. And we watched this happen. There are more details in the video to the story, but that was the main effect. In terms of our thinking toward adaptogens, both for our own lives first, and then later on, when more changes happened out in the world and life, the company I was at, they had a whole new board that took it over that were not really interested in natural products at all. And I asked them all that. Why are you doing this? Are you interested? No, we're not. This is just a financial move. So I worked with that board for about a year and a half. But part of what I want to do is I believe deeply in the mission. I'm one that believes, Tammy, that what we've learned over the years, all of us together, what we've shared is something that if every single household had that information and had access to learning for themselves how adaptogens and products that use them work for them, that virtually every life is better health, better energy, tools to overcome challenges, and health challenges, they still come, of course. And that's what I believed. So when more change happened on the professional side, Soul kind of became, I don't know, almost like a natural step. It was still a big decision. I'm not going to.
I mean, I can't even imagine now looking back on what you had in front of you.
I wasn't one of those people that was like, I'm going to do this for this many years and then I'm going to go start my own. I really became, once I get to know people and we share all this, I don't know, common experiences and common goals and wishes, I feel a real intense loyalty. And so it was a very difficult change for me to pull myself out into a new situation. But what Donna went through, what we saw, and then as I looked around, by now I'd been enough years in the industry, more than 20 years, the industry was moving very often the other direction, finding active components in natural things and then extracting them out. And like more, I say it was try to use more complete plant extracts, and always that was our idea, is what if we formulate each and every product with nutrition for both the emotional and the mental nutritional needs that correlate with different physical situations. That was where our study began. And honestly, it's still going. That's been 12 or 13 years, because we were a good more than 2 years working on the Soul formulas before we launched. Even with all our years of experience with the herbs, this was a direction that you didn't find scientists doing it. You still don't, because we're kind of in love with sort of the Western method of pull something out and make it kind of natural drug-like. That was kind of.
I'm sorry. There was a point today in one of Val's webinars, we were talking about that when you take the plant apart, that it no longer is natural.
Right. It's now altered, even though it may be a natural power, something out the way it was. Are you still there? Did I freeze on you?
Yeah, but I think it may be me. Okay, so what did you say? So you alter it, so then no, it's no longer natural?
Yeah, it probably will be good in the recording. I've no recording still good, but some of the balance of nature that we understand some of, but I would never presume to say we understand all of the reasons all these components are in plants. I have a great deal of confidence in the way we find it in nature. Once we find, because there are some plants in nature we really don't want to be eating. But speaking of
No.
those safe and sure ones, adaptogens are in the Chinese have used them for several thousand years. They include adaptogens in what they would call superior herbs. And they call them superior because they're safe. They're meant to be a daily consumption, and they're not something that you carefully take a little bit of it, but don't take too much. That's a whole different end of things. So I loved that because we wanted to have products for all ages. Children have benefited, throughout my career in herbs. I've seen that, and adaptogens are even more applicable and usable by children because of what I just mentioned about them, and then the elderly. At this age now, I'm just not gonna, my we can do, but we can have a better quality.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my internet or yours. Okay, I wanted to ask you one more thing, because one thing that has stood out to me being with Soul, and I interviewed Chris and interviewed Val, and just the heart of the whole organization, that to me was very, that's what I loved. And even now, everybody is so generous with their knowledge. And I mean, I've just appreciated so much. I mean, even the fact that I remember the very first in Dallas, y'all do not want us saying we sell stuff, we share, we want to help people. And that's what, so when you establish the company, why is that the route that you went? To me, you went totally different than any other company out there. And even to this day, when I call the company, and I've been with other network marketing companies, and they don't care, I mean, they just really don't. But whenever I call Solle Naturals, I can tell that y'all care, and it permeates through the whole company. So why did you go that route, or what made you, why is Solle that way?
Well, it's what we believe in. I mean, honestly, I can be really, like a lot of people, I guess, I can be really turned off if
Mhm.
I feel that there are other motives, or it's shallow, or I don't know. It's what,
Agenda.
yeah, there's an agenda. I guess because of the whole experience I had, there are people that I had been around in my early years with herbs. They were such genuine. Oh, I can't tell you. I can still picture their faces, and lots of them were 70-year-old ladies. Seriously. And I can name on, I'd have to have 10 hands to name them. I still see their faces and their name because they taught us, they loved people. They kind of loved you into, here's what you can do for your health. And people that wanted to build a business, oh, I'll show you what I do. That's what so for me, it is because it's what we love, and we love the culture that Soul is, that you all are, because that's what we want to be like. So I think it's just a mutual desire to be this way, and to make it. I guess maybe, Tammy, too. It's about having something last, and people, getting benefit now, and in 5 years, and in 10, and in 20, and in 40. My first company I was with, I was there 20 years, and they were 40 years old. And we with Soul, we want Soul to be around 100. We want it to be the kind of thing that when when we're not able to get on and put two words together like we want to, I guess, that there are other people that will, and that people are still benefiting. And Soul is still, we are kind of in our infancy. We've taken what some people would say is a slower path because we've done it organically. We didn't sort of go out and, I don't know, you can recruit size and bring a few big players and really hype it up and jump fast. And it just didn't ever appeal to us. And also I would say because our products have been a progression, like an organic progression of needs.
Mhm.
You know, as I look at what we're going to do at convention, and then we've got this wonderful new formula that we'll be telling you about soon.
What is that?
I mean,
What is that formula?
we'll be telling you about it really soon for the fall. But it's an ongoing, it's a love for us, and it's going to make, it's another thing that we want to add to the table. So this is just who we are, and we're just excited. People like you are here, and those who are listening, if it's Tammy or someone else that invited you, these are people I could stand behind my whole life and tell you, Tammy, because I've known you now 8 years. Tammy, in 8 years, you're same Tammy. Yeah, oh, you've grown in all your knowledge of how to help and use these adaptogenic herbs, but your heart, that's the same heart I saw at the start. And that's who we want to be too. That's the same commitment we want to have. 20 more years, we want to be able to say, you can look at us in a meeting and say, hey, you haven't changed, Greg or Blake or Corey or Lon or Jordan or now
It's
Hope.
true. You
So
have
that's our goal.
Oh yeah, we love Hope too. Yeah, well, let me just tell you, I love everything about Soul. I really do. And thank you so much for making this company because I feel like I have so many experiences of people that call me up and are like, thank you so much. They were feeling hopeless and it's hard to get across the integrity and the genuineness, so that's why I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so very much. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties.
I'm sorry I couldn't get on. And if you want another time, sometime in the future, Tammy, if we have other questions that we didn't answer, anytime, you just let me know. I'm here, okay?
I really appreciate it. Tell Donna hi for me, okay?
I will. I'll tell her.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me see. Okay.